Hey there. Ready to dive deep into the world of AI? You've probably seen the headlines about GPT-3. And today, we're going to unpack what it really means for you, what it can do, and why it has everyone talking.
Yeah, it's been fascinating to watch the evolution of these large language models, and GPT-3 is a significant leap forward.
Okay, so before we get into the mind-blowing stuff, can you give us a quick breakdown of what a language model actually is?
Think of it like this. You know how your phone predicts the next word as you type? That's a basic form of language model. GPT-3 takes that concept to a whole new level. Imagine feeding a massive amount of text data into a supercomputer and training it to understand the patterns and relationships between words. That's essentially what GPT-3 is.
So it's like a supercharged version of predictive text.
Yeah.
But instead of just suggesting words, it can actually generate coherent and complex text.
Exactly. And the scale here is mind-boggling. We're talking about a model with 175 billion parameters.
Wait, 175 billion. Now, I know you mentioned parameters before, but can you remind me what those are and why that number is so significant?
Sure. Those parameters are like the connections between neurons in a massive neural network. They represent the relationships between words and concepts that the model has learned. So in essence, the more parameters, the more nuanced and complex its understanding of language becomes.
So it's not just about memorizing a ton of text. It's about understanding the underlying structure and meaning of language.
Precisely. And what's really remarkable is that the research team didn't just train one giant model, they actually trained a whole series of models, ranging in size from 125 million parameters all the way up to 175 billion, which is GPT-3. And for most tasks, they found that as you increase the size of the model, its performance improves significantly.
So it's like the bigger the model, the smarter it gets.
In a way, yes. And this isn't just about being better at predicting the next word. Larger models are also much better at learning entirely new tasks with just a few examples. We call this few-shot learning, and it's one of the things that makes GPT-3 so powerful.
Okay, hold on. So it's like this giant language model can suddenly become an expert in something new just by seeing a few examples. That's pretty amazing.
It really is. And this ability to generalize and adapt to new challenges is one of the things that sets GPT-3 apart from previous language models.
All right, you've piqued my curiosity. Now, you mentioned that GPT-3 can do some pretty amazing things. What are some specific examples that really showcase what it can do?
Well, let's start with language modeling itself. GPT-3 set a new record on the Pentree Bank, which is a classic benchmark for evaluating how well a model can predict the next word in a sequence.
Wow, that's impressive. But how do they actually measure that? Is there like a score or something?
Yes, there's something called perplexity, which essentially measures how well the model predicts the next word. The lower the perplexity score, the better the prediction.
Okay, got it. So a low score means the model is less perplexed about what word comes next. Makes sense. What else can GPT-3 do besides predicting words?
Well, there are these things called close and completion tasks, where you give the model a sentence or a paragraph with a missing word, and it has to figure out what goes in the blank. GPT-3 excels at this, and can even write different creative text formats, like poems, code, scripts, musical pieces, emails, and letters. You just have to show it a few examples, and it can generate something new based on those patterns.
Wait, poems and code. So if I wanted a sonnet about a robot falling in love with a toaster, GPT-3 could just whip that up. Now that's something I'd love to read.
It certainly could give it a try, but beyond its creative potential, GPT-3 also performs incredibly well on tasks that require understanding and responding to information. For instance, it outperforms some highly specialized models on Trivia QA, which is a data set full of challenging trivia questions.
So it's like having the entire internet in your pocket
Yeah,
and being able to ask it anything.
it's getting pretty close. And here's something even more remarkable. GPT-3 can translate languages, and it wasn't specifically trained to do this.
Hold on a second. You're telling me that this model, which was mainly trained on English text, can accurately translate other languages just by understanding the patterns of language in general?
Exactly. It's a testament to the power of these large language models to pick up on subtle linguistic nuances. And it gets even more impressive when you consider its performance on a standardized test for language understanding called Super GLUE. It's like the AI Olympics, where models are evaluated on a variety of tasks that require complex reasoning and language comprehension.
Okay, so how did GPT-3 fare in the AI Olympics? Did it take home the gold?
It certainly put on an impressive show. What's fascinating is that even though GPT-3 wasn't specifically trained for these tasks, it still performed incredibly well, even beating out some models that were specifically designed for them.
So it's a natural at some things,
Yeah.
and maybe a bit of a novice at others, kind of like us humans, I guess.
A great observation. And it highlights the fact that even with all its remarkable capabilities, GPT-3 is still under development. It has areas where it excels and areas where it needs further refinement.
So it's not a perfect system, but it's definitely pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible with AI.
Absolutely. And one of the most intriguing things about GPT-3 is its ability to generate text that is incredibly human-like. In fact, researchers conducted an experiment to see if people could tell the difference between a real news article and one written by GPT-3.
Now, that's what I call putting it to the test. So how did it do? Were people able to spot the AI-written articles?
This is where it gets really interesting. They tested different sizes of GPT-3, and for short articles, humans were barely better than random chance at identifying those written by the largest GPT-3 model. Even with longer articles, GPT-3's writing was still incredibly convincing.
Wow, that's kind of mind-blowing. It means that GPT-3 could potentially write something so believable that even I might be fooled. That raises a lot of interesting questions.
It really is remarkable how convincing GPT-3 can be. This capability opens up some incredible possibilities, but it also raises some important questions about the future of information and how we distinguish between human-generated and AI-generated content.
That's a great point. It's like we're entering a whole new era of communication, where the lines between human and machine are becoming increasingly blurred. But before we get too deep into the philosophical implications, I'm curious to hear more about the practical applications of GPT-3. What are some of the areas where you see this technology having the biggest impact?
Well, I think we've only just begun to scratch the surface of what's possible. One area where I see tremendous potential is in personalized education. Imagine a world where every student has access to a customized learning experience tailored to their individual needs and learning style. GPT-3 could be used to generate personalized learning materials, provide real-time feedback, and even adapt the difficulty of lessons based on a student's progress.
That would be a game changer for education. It would be like having a personal tutor available to every student, 24/7. What other areas are you excited about?
Another area where GPT-3 could have a profound impact is in assistive technologies for people with disabilities. Imagine a device that can help people with speech impairments communicate more effectively, or a tool that can assist people with mobility issues in navigating the world around them.
That's an incredible thought. Technology like this could empower people in ways we never thought possible before. And what about the creative realm? We already talked about GPT-3's ability to write poetry and code, but could it also be used by artists, musicians,
Yeah.
and writers to push the boundaries of human creativity?
The potential for artistic expression is limitless. GPT-3 could be used to generate new musical melodies, create stunning visual art, or even write entire novels. It could act as a collaborator, a muse, or a tool to explore new creative avenues. Imagine a musician using GPT-3 to generate unique chord progressions, or a writer collaborating with the model to develop new plot ideas.
It sounds like we're entering a whole new era of human-AI collaboration, where AI is not just a tool but a partner in the creative process. That's an incredibly exciting prospect. But it also raises questions about the nature of creativity itself. If an AI can create art that is indistinguishable from human-created art, what does that mean for our understanding of human creativity?
That's a profound question that philosophers and artists will be grappling with for years to come. I believe that AI tools like GPT-3 can augment and enhance human creativity, but they don't replace the essential human element of inspiration, emotion, and experience that goes into creating meaningful art.
I think that's a crucial distinction to make. AI can be a powerful tool for exploration and expression, but it's ultimately up to humans to infuse those creations with meaning and purpose. But let's shift gears for a moment and talk about the potential challenges of GPT-3. We've already touched on the issue of distinguishing between human-generated and AI-generated content, but what other concerns do you see as this technology becomes more widespread?
One concern is the potential for misuse. As GPT-3 becomes more sophisticated, it could be used to create incredibly convincing fake news articles, social media posts, or even impersonate individuals in online interactions. This raises serious concerns about the spread of misinformation and the erosion of trust in online information.
It's a sobering thought, and it highlights the need for ethical guidelines and responsible development as this technology continues to evolve. Are there any safeguards or countermeasures being developed to address these potential risks?
Researchers are already working on developing tools to detect AI-generated text, which could help mitigate the spread of misinformation. These tools often look for subtle patterns and inconsistencies in the text that are characteristic of AI-generated content.
That's encouraging to hear. It sounds like there's a bit of an arms race going on between those developing these powerful AI tools and those working to detect and counter their potential misuse. But beyond the technical challenges, there's also the broader societal impact to consider.
Mhm.
How do you see GPT-3 and similar AI technology shaping the future of work, communication, and our relationship with information?
That's a complex question with no easy answers. Some experts believe that AI will automate many jobs currently done by humans, leading to widespread unemployment and economic disruption. Others argue that AI will create new jobs and opportunities that we can't even imagine yet. It's likely that the truth lies somewhere in between.
It's a time of great uncertainty,
Hmm.
but also a time of incredible opportunity. AI has the potential to transform our world in profound ways, and it's up to us to shape that transformation in a way that benefits all of humanity.
I completely agree. We need to be having open and honest conversations about the potential benefits and risks of AI, involving not just technologists, but ethicists, policymakers, and the public at large.
It's not just about the technology itself, but about the values and principles that guide its development and use.
Exactly. We need to ensure that AI is developed and used in a way that aligns with our shared human values, promoting fairness, transparency, and accountability.
It's a tall order, but one that we must rise to meet. After all, the future of AI is not predetermined. It's something that we're all actively shaping through our choices and actions.
Well said. I'm hopeful that by engaging in thoughtful dialogue and responsible development, we can harness the power of AI for good, creating a future where technology empowers and uplifts humanity.
I share your optimism.
Hmm.
And on that note, I think we've covered a lot of ground in our exploration of GPT-3. We've talked about its incredible capabilities, its potential benefits and risks, and the broader societal implications of this game-changing technology. It's incredible to think that we've only just scratched the surface of what GPT-3 and future language models might be capable of. Before we wrap up, is there anything else that you think our listeners should keep in mind as they navigate this rapidly evolving world of AI?
I think one of the most important things is to stay informed and engaged. AI is not some distant futuristic concept. It's already shaping our world in profound ways. And that influence is only going to grow in the years to come. Read articles, listen to podcasts, and engage in conversations about AI with your friends, family, and colleagues. The more we understand about this technology, the better equipped we'll be to make informed decisions about its development and use.
I completely agree. We can't just passively sit back and let the technology dictate the future. We need to be active participants in shaping that future, ensuring that AI is used for the betterment of humanity. I think that starts with curiosity, with asking questions, with not being afraid to delve into the complexities of this technology and the implications.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to challenge assumptions. AI is often portrayed as either a utopian dream or a dystopian nightmare, but the reality is likely to be much more nuanced. It's important to think critically about the potential benefits and risks of AI, and to engage in thoughtful discussions about the kind of future we want to create.
Well said. This has been such a fascinating and thought-provoking conversation. I feel like I've gained a whole new perspective on GPT-3 and the potential of AI. Before we sign off, is there anything else you'd like to add? Any parting thoughts for our listeners?
I think it's important to remember that AI is a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or for ill. Ultimately, the future of AI is not predetermined. It's something that we are all actively shaping through our choices and actions. So let's choose to use this powerful technology wisely, responsibly, and with compassion, creating a future where AI empowers and uplifts humanity.
That's a perfect note to end on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the world of GPT-3. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery. We hope you've enjoyed this deep dive.
Yeah.
And we encourage you to keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking questions. Until next time, stay curious and keep diving deep.